Hello everyone, welcome to Financial Shah classes. My name is Shailesh and in our session 15th of Financial Statement Analysis series, we are going to talk about another angle of analyzing sources of revenue. अभी तक हम लोगों ने in analysis of revenues, we have taken a look at various different angles like geographical segmentation or customer-wise revenue angles or a product nature, specific product manufactured versus trading, and there are many other angles which we have covered in our previous readings. So in case viewers haven't taken a look at the previous readings, I highly recommend do take a look at previous readings first and then move on with this one. In this session, we are going to talk about one last angle of analysis of revenues out of the many which we have discussed, which is seasonality. Now, one would expect कि एक business अगर अपने products या services बेच रहा है throughout the year, it can't be that every month they will be selling 1/12 of the overall revenues. Not all business have that kind of streamlined sales where they are going through a constant revenue generation every month. However, in fact, there are many businesses which have certain months or certain quarters of the year which are mainly driving the annual sales of that business. So which means there is seasonality in the revenue data or revenue generation. In today's video, we are going to talk about how to analyze such seasonal revenues and what factors to keep in mind. So as we have done till date, we have taken a listed Indian company as an example and applied the learnings on the listed Indian company's financials. We have taken 2 such case studies in today's session, so stay tuned. The first case study which I want to talk about today is Monte Carlo. Now, Monte Carlo is basically an apparel manufacturing company. They wooden or cotton ready-made apparel बना के बेचते हैं वो अपने customers को. Moreover, they are also into trading of already ready-made apparels, so sweaters and everything, right? So when we take a look at Monte Carlo's revenue figures, an analyst, first you need to understand is they don't just take a look at annual revenues, but to ensure they are tracking the financial performance of a company, everyone takes a look at quarterly revenues as well to do a real-time check whether the company is moving as per their expectations, right? So in terms of Monte Carlo, अगर हम लोग सोचे तो Monte Carlo के quarterly data एक बार extract कैसे होते हैं पहले मैं आपको ये सिखा देता हूँ. Remember the first session which I took around financial statement analysis series, I talked about there are 3 most important things. First is data extraction, then analyzing the data or fixing that data and fixing that data for analysis perspective, and then third one is analysis. So let me just show you how to extract quarterly financials data. It's very much similar to what we have done for the annual part, except annual reports have a different section on BSE website. There's also a quarterly financial statements sections where you can directly go to here. So this is a Monte Carlo BSE website page. You can directly open financials tab, and within financials tab you can click on results. You will see there is a quarterly trend, there's an annual trend. Now when you see this December 21, what does it mean? It's basically the quarter corresponding to ending in December 21. So I just want to talk about the nomenclature here because a lot of times I have seen candidates or financial analysts getting confused with the nomenclature. So when someone says FY21, what do they mean? It's basically from 1st April 2020 to 31st March 2021. So when someone says I'm referring to Q1 FY21, they're actually referring to the data from 1st April 2020 to April, May, June, so 30th June 2020. A lot of times I've seen fresher candidates making mistakes, seeing Q1 FY21, so they directly take 1st April 2021 instead of 2020. So please understand. So when someone says Q4 FY21, they are referring to 1st Jan, they're referring to 1st Jan 2021 to 31st March 2021. So which is why please be very careful when it comes to nomenclature of quarterly financials. Often tend to make mistakes in that area. Second point which I want to clarify here is these figures they have presented in quarters. This is one way of extracting data when it comes to quarterly financials. आप एक और तरीके से quarterly financials extract कर सकते हो by going through corporate announcements. So you see this tab. By clicking on this tab, you will see that it will open in a different window altogether. And within this window, you can directly select under category results. And you can select a particular time frame. Remember, this time frame is only for 1 year. You cannot select more than 1 year. So quarterly data usually comes with a lag of 2 months. So you can take a look at that. So for example, if I want to take a look at Q4 FY21, so which means I'm referring to quarterly data of 1st December, 1st Jan 2021 to 31st March 2021. So all I need to do is, and that data will be released definitely after March 2021. So, on a safer side, I'm just gonna select 1st April 2021, and I'm gonna give it, bandwidth of, let's say, 3 months for reporting data. Typically, exchanges have rules of ensuring that the data gets released within 3 months. Otherwise, sometimes exchanges, they suspend trading for not releasing the results. So April, May, June, right? So I'm just gonna, on a safer note, I'm gonna select, the window from 1st April 2021. Remember, the data which I'm trying to extract is of Q4 FY21. I'm just gonna select results here and then click on submit. As you can see, this is the announcement, right? So you can directly click on this PDF icon and you will get that quarterly results, PDF file. Remember, these quarterly results are unaudited. So that doesn't mean that you cannot do analysis, because typically quarterly results are declared unaudited, except, maybe the entire yearly figure which they give out, that is usually audited, and sometimes the Q4 gets audited. So what you see here is 3 months ended 31st March 2021. One needs to be very careful. 3 months ended, 6 months ended, 9 months ended, because often companies tend to do that kind of analysis as well while presenting, because cumulative basis pay, they might present that. So what you see here is a revenue figure of 10,876, and these are in lakhs. Hopefully you are able to see. And 10,876, I'm just gonna verify the same from the quarterly so that you guys have a thorough idea. So 10,876, right? So converting it to crores, it's 108 crores, which is what you see here. So that's how you extract the quarterly revenue data. Now that you understand how to analyze, how to extract quarterly revenue data, let me show you how to go about analysis of this quarterly revenue data. What you see here is, a small, Excel presentation which we have done for you guys, a template. So here what we have done is we have noted down the time series data of Monte Carlo fashions from 2018, 2019, 2022, 2021. And that too for Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. So as you can see, 10,876, we actually got this data from the financial statements. We usually prefer to go to financial statements for every data extraction, because sometimes there may be certain caveats or footnotes or disclosures which you need to take a look at before taking the data for granted. We have actually done a couple of case studies on this in our past video sessions. So do take a look at that in case if you haven't. Now, let's talk about how to go about, now that we have extracted the data, how to go about analyzing the data. Now, everyone knows, a simple metric of analyzing any time series data. Time series data as in जो एक particular time frame basis पे present होता है, like 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021. So in this 4-year time series data, one simple analysis which almost everyone does is year on year or quarter on quarter growth rate. So year on year would be entire year data and growth rate. So as you can see, the total revenue figure, this is the entire fiscal year data. So fiscal year 2021 data and 2020 data. As you can see, the 2021, we saw a revenue degrowth by 14%, and naturally it was a tough year for almost every business, but we are going to dig deeper into it. This is a time series analysis, simple fashion in a comparison manner, but when it comes to seasonality of data, which is precisely the topic which we are taking a look at in this session, it is always recommended that you do a composition-wise analysis. Composition analysis as in how much of the total fiscal year revenue is being contributed by the individual quarterly revenues, to see if there is a seasonality in that data. As you can see, this is Q1. Now remember, quarter one would be what? 1st April to 31st March. Oh, sorry, this is quarter one, right? So 30th June. So that's quarter one. And then this would be 1st July to 30th September. This would be 1st October to 31st December, pardon my handwriting, and 1st Jan to 31st March. Now, if you see, in case of Monte Carlo, this business, we'll see that only 2% revenues, they are generated in the first quarter. And how did I get this 2%? It was precisely the quarter one revenue figure divided by the overall revenue figure. So 1118 divided by 62202 precisely gives me a 2% data. Hopefully that clarifies the situation for everyone. Now, let's talk about the quarter two. We can see that it's 16%, and then quarter three, it's 65%. That's huge. And quarter four, it is 17%. Now, if you take a look at that, is it just happening in 1 year? क्या ये सिर्फ एक साल में हो रहा है क्या? ये check करने के लिए you need to take a look at time series wise analysis, composition analysis. So which is why if you do similar analysis for 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021, you'll see that across the years, quarter one seems to be the lowest contributor to revenue, and quarter three seems to be the highest contributor to revenue. Almost more than half of the business's annual revenue is generated in just one single quarter. You may wonder why. Now just think of it. You know, it is genuinely very important कि किसी भी एक analyst ने financial numbers को reality of the business से connect करना चाहिए. Now Monte Carlo is into winter apparel business, right? Major winter sales happen in this quarter. India में winter तभी तो आता है. So which is why you see this huge contribution of revenue. Almost 50-60% revenue of that entire annual comes in that quarter. Summer में कौन खरीदता है? Which is why you see just 2% or 5-10%. So now what needs to be taken a look at apart from this? So hopefully now that you have figured out, in terms of analysis of time series, seasonality of data, you need to do a time series analysis of composition of quarterly basis. That need not always be true that your seasons are going to remain constant, which is why a time series is needed to see if, the data is trying to tell you something about the business. Now, once you have done this analysis, let me give you a bit of another very important observation. So if you see that in 2021, quarter one, which was precisely April to June, April 20 to June 20 to be precise. Well, the entire world was going through lockdown, right? We actually, the consumer spending was hit really bad. So as you can see, as compared to quarter one FY20, the quarter one FY21 almost took a hit of 81%. How did I get that? Using this simple, because quarter one FY20, the revenue was 5992. And when you take a look at quarter one FY21, the revenue was 11 crores. So 59 crores to 11 crores, 81% up. Now, if an analyst were to just take a look at this data in silo, he or she may end up thinking, your 80% revenue बर्बाद हो गया, ये company तो बर्बाद ही हो जाएगी. But understand that 80% revenue है कितना company के लिए? That how significant is that? It's less than 10%, right? Because the contribution of quarter one revenue to the business is less than 10%. And fortunately, for Monte Carlo, I guess in this scenario, the economy started to open up due to extensive vaccination programs, taken brilliant initiatives by the government of India. The economy started to open in the quarter two and quarter three, and precisely that was the quarter where most of the revenues for Monte Carlo happened. As you can see, it had literally no impact whatsoever as compared to pre-COVID and post-COVID. So the major quarter, which is revenue driver of that business, was not hit at all. So yes, while analyzing seasonal data or a business which goes through seasonality in revenue, an analyst needs to track a particular major contributing season कि उसका revenue कितना दिख रहा है और वो revenue कैसे grow कर रहा है. Because if that major contributing season gets hit, the entire business will get hit. If you take a look at, wo chota contribution, which is getting hit by 80%, maybe it will, the maths will tell you something else, but, a simple logic around that, the overall contribution to the annual revenue is very small in that quarter. So even if that gets hit by 80%, 80% of very small amount is again going to be very small amount for the overall business. Don't get me wrong. Yes, it was hit, but it's not hit by 80%, right? Take a look at the annual revenue hit which Monte Carlo took because of the Q1 and Q2 degrowth, obviously, was what? 14%, not 80%. So the perspective we are trying to communicate through this example is, while doing seasonality analysis of any particular revenue, you need to do a composition analysis, see, and keep that composition in mind while making a period-wise growth analysis, how significant that is when it comes to that business. So which is why the entire industry often tends to track the major contributing season, because that is the fiscal year defining moment for that business. So hopefully that communicates through this example. As you can see, over the years, what has happened is, in case of Monte Carlo, the contribution has remained around 50-55. It was only 2021, which seems to have increased drastically. That was only because the contribution by Q1 and Q2 was very less. अगर ऐसे केसेस में Q1 और Q2 का रेवेन्यू कॉम्पोजिशन कम हो जाता है, तो Q3 का कॉम्पोजिशन बढ़ना ही है naturally. Remember, if someone else is losing, relatively you are winning, वैसे टाइप का illusion create होता है. So composition analysis में be very careful while interpreting. Just because one particular segment's composition or contribution to the overall business is increasing, it doesn't mean that that particular segment is seeing growth. This precisely comments on. Now moving to the next business, let's talk about sorry about that. So continuing further, so as I said, Kharif season happens in June to October, followed by Rabi season. Now these Kharif crop seeds are sold by Kaveri seeds. Now Kaveri seeds, when they sell these Kharif seeds, entire demand of these Kharif crop seeds is driven by rainfall in India. So if India sees a good rainfall, there's a huge demand for seeds. If there is a huge demand for seeds, then there's a good driver in the business, right? And we can see that data when we do a similar quarterly analysis of Kaveri seeds. So take a look at this. Q1 almost contributes 60 to 70%, 70 to 75%, in fact. 70 to 75% of the overall revenue. And why not? Like from 1st April to 30th June, that is when farmers will buy the seeds, right? Because the Kharif season starts from June to October. So 1st April to 30th June, major sales of seeds happen for Kaveri seeds. And this contribution, you can see over the years, has remained 60 to 70%. Now, yes, one analyst may agree that that's a huge risk for a business when 60-70% of the revenues are coming from just one single quarter. If something goes wrong in that quarter or that particular dependency, there's a huge risk, right? So which is why one very important factor you need to take a look at while analyzing any particular business is see how the seasonality trend is changing over a period of time. When you take a look at this, the seasonality trend for Kaveri seeds seems to be decreasing when it comes to Q1's contribution to overall revenue of the business. That may happen due to change of products which are sold by the business, maybe diversification of the offered products, which are reducing the dependency of Kaveri seeds when it comes to Q1 performance. Another thing which you maybe taking a look at this data and maybe thinking, hey, Q1, how is it that this business still grew as compared to FY20? FY21 still saw growth when almost every other business saw terrible growth, and especially in Q1, when you see it has seen a 15% Q1 growth, quarter on quarter change. Sorry, this is named YOY change. It's basically quarter on quarter change. So when you take a look at this, you may be thinking that why is it that quarter on quarter change is still positive for this business when the entire nation was in lockdown? Remember, Kaveri seeds come into essential services. Essential services, because if you don't provide seeds to farmers, who's going to feed the entire nation, right? So government of India supported these guys, and this is something which has been discussed in the Q1 FY20 FY21 con call. As you can see, they're stating that we are really thankful because of the support of the government, given we are considered as a essential service. We were allowed to operate without any hiccup or restrictions. So yes, sometimes seasonality needs to be taken a look at from all the of financial performance data over a period of time, and it might actually help an analyst gain perspective about the dynamics of business, how the business environment is changing. Maybe the business is trying to move into different directions to de-risk its model. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the session. This is the last angle which we are going to cover in our financial statement analysis series for the revenue analysis part. We are going to take up new exciting topics in the next session. So hopefully you guys like this video. In case if you have any questions and queries regarding our discussion in this session, please do mention it in the comment section. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as our Instagram handle for more such educative content. Do let us know in case if you have any questions. Thank you so much. This is Shailesh, and I hope to see you guys in the next session.